Hello and welcome to the new video. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. So this is my custom crate that was selling in my previous video. After trading for a full day and selling a lot of items on some kind of Discord channel, I was able to spend a full day trying to snipe some cheaper items for the build. I'm actually using the new Ice Spear of Splitting, and I would say overall for clearing any kind of maps is absolutely fantastic. It is so good that it clears any kind of map because there is some kind of interaction with the skill that I'm gonna go into more details in the gear section when I'm gonna be describing my chest. So go over there if you want to learn more about the new Ice Spear. But I would say like this: the clearing any map, even like a cursed crypt map that's very close, there's a lot of doors, it's super easy. It is super easy no matter what. It has a great clearing potential. Clearing blights and any content, even legions, is absolutely fantastic. I would say it's super great. I'm having a lot of fun with this with this new edition of Ice Spear. Unfortunately, if I compare this Ice Spear to the old one, or like a basic one or stock one, however you want to call it, on a boss scenario, it still outperforms the splitting one. So you're gonna see me sometimes on the clips when I'm gonna be swapping the gems, and I'm gonna be going back to the old version or basic version of Ice Spear because it provides far more damage in the bossing scenario. But again, swapping is not gonna be that difficult. I will go in the details in the gear section, so please listen very carefully. And instead of me highlighting all of the bosses, all of invitation, I don't think that's very important for this video, as Ice Spear is a very old build. Even on this channel I cover the Ice Spear every second or third league, so you can just go back and see how the Ice Spear performs. Obviously the old Ice Spear is gonna perform a little bit better due to losing the enchantment, but in my opinion for this league it's far more important to focus on mapping, as the wisps make the rares, especially the rares, way more tankier. Some of the rares are so tanky that I would say they are the par with on the difficult level. Like you will be fighting a Guardian, T60 Guardian, like a Phoenix or a Hydra. Or I would even say in some cases you can kill a Guardian much faster than a tanky rare that's gonna have 2 or 3 influence of the wisps. So I'm gonna give you a couple clips that I was able to gather from when I was live streaming, but this focus is gonna be primarily highlighting to you the mapping scenario, and you're gonna see that I did some harvest, I'm gonna do some blights, I'm clicking the altar, so you can see how the build performs while mapping. Because like I said this a second ago, mapping for this league is, I think it's very important that your build is able to handle different situations, because there are some altars that are very good, such as there's gonna be 25% chance to duplicate your currency, but you're always gonna get crit, so that's like a very massive downside. And I'm actually managing to get that downside of the crit that you're getting 100% to negating it. Not entirely, but most of the crits won't be affecting the build. Somewhere on the video at the end I'm gonna leave you a small timestamp, because I was able to test out multiple different skills, since this build is a very generic battle mage custom crit build, and you can swap around very easily the skills. I tested out a couple of them, like the 2 new version of Firestorm, 2 new version of Arc, I did some Ball Lightning, and there's gonna be a timestamp when I'm gonna be show you how easy, even for this build, is just to swap them around. Even if you don't like the Ice Spear, there's gonna be a timestamp when you can just swap the Ice Spear, let's say for a Firestorm. Maybe you don't like Firestorm and you don't like the Ice Spear, I will show you the version that you can do the new Arc. Maybe you don't like the Arc, I will show you something different. Obviously, I'm not able to test out all of the new skills because there's way too many of them. They are way too hard to buy from the trade, because sometimes people just won't respond, and I'm gonna be, you know, spamming to the people, and I'm, you know, I rather play the game instead of just sitting on the trade trying to buy some gems. And you know, some of the gems I don't even know which one should I be testing out for the build, so you can experiment yourself with the new gems. So here's an encounter when I'm doing Blight. Generally, when I was playing Ice Spear, absolutely doing the Blights, it was a miserable experience, and I had to use the new keystone for the Cassia Pride, I think that's how it's called, and that was somehow manageable on the Ice Spear. But now with the new Ice Spear, I'm like a freaking god. I can clear the whole Blight just by holding my cyclone, like way we go. And on topic of the cyclone, oh, you're gonna learn something new, because the new cyclone, not the stock one, is absolutely great for any custom crit build. And if you're gonna be using a cyclone, a standard one, and you're using a custom crit build, you're not doing a good job. And this is like a very important step. If you decide to recreate the build, pretty much there is no flexible items in this build. You're just gonna have to swallow the price, and you're gonna have to buy all of the items no matter what. Maybe every now and then I would try to tell you, like, you know, you can buy some kind of cheaper version, but unfortunately you're gonna have to stick with the items that I have, because there's a huge synergy between all of them. For now, you can just enjoy the rest of the map, and I will see you soon with the timestamps when I'm gonna be talking about items, and you can enjoy some boss fights that I was able to gather on my live stream.
Feel your life drain away. Another challenger. Life is so brittle. Until next time. A contest of wills and power. Wonderful. Take this vitality boon. The void protects its children. Take this vitality boon. Slaughter or strangle. The void protects its children. Be healed and fight on! The veil of safety and security. Onto the struggle or strangle!
Your death, this nightmare finally ends.
A contest of wills.
Out! Strike!
Welcome! Time has no need. Your pain will
One sooner than the other. The void protects its children. Grip of the infinite. The void protects its children. Tight tethers. of safety and security. Such a rare.
For the bandits, we are choosing to help Alira. To hit the Pantheon chest, we're gonna be the Sword of Arakali because we need the chaos resistance, because we are not chaos capped and it's way too hard to get the chaos cap, so we need to use Sword of Arakali. And we're gonna be using Sword of Aberrat just simply for the Burning Ground, because Burning Ground, especially where I'm running the red altars, is very annoying for any ES builds. But the minor gods can be swapped around whatever you choose. For Ascendancy point, you go Normal, Cruel, Merciless, Eternal. So here's the overview of the secondary Ascendancy class, or the flavor of this league. And I don't know how to pronounce them, like, you know, what's like the proper terminology for this thing it is. So you're going for the charm slot, and what I'm using is you cannot take the reflect damage and gain power charges. You could skip the cannot take reflect damage, but simply you're just gonna lose a small quality of life whenever you see elemental reflect map. You cannot run it. But the power charge, absolutely you need to have it, because you're gonna run into troubles with getting yourself the crit cap. The second charm what I'm using is I'm using off the Inquisitor off, because I need the stats. Absolutely do not skip on that, you're gonna need the stats. And then I'm getting some flat critical chance on the maximum power charges, and only have 3 power charges, and so I'm getting like a little bit crit damage. This crit damage is kind of low because I bought it really cheaply, so you can get a bit higher if you want. And the last one is again the Inquisitor for the stats, and I'm getting some crit multi for the power charges. Even if I have only 3 power charges and the crit multi on this jewel is not the best, I still get 9 crit multi. It's still great, but it can be always better, so you can improve on the charms if you choose to. Right, so you did just watch our overview of the passive tree. So there's not much happening if that's what you're thinking, but you would be very wrong, because there's a lot of things that you might overlook. The first of all is whenever you're gonna be playing, what's that? Custom crit. The custom crit gem has to be on level 3 because of the new interaction with the cyclone, right? So even if you buy a level 1, there's still a nice trick that you can do to get it to level 4 in the mastery. So you're gonna be respecing, where's that? Over here. You're gonna be respecing the critical damage against the unique enemies, and you're gonna be using the +3 to all critical support gems. Since the custom crit is a support gem, you're gonna get 3 +3 levels. So even if you buy a level 1, it's gonna be level 4. So you're gonna be on that level when you need the bare minimum entry of Awaken Custom Crit level 3 with just simply a mastery. And once you get to level 3, you will just respect that level 3 mastery to get some more critical multi over here. Another trick that you're gonna be doing, since my watcher size is quite expensive and I have a non-channeling on it and a discipline mode, I'm gonna say this: if you cannot afford the same watches as I did, because mine was very expensive, I paid 15 divines, I don't think you can buy something similar, but let me just say like this: the discipline mode is top priority number 1, the non-channeling on the clarity is number 2, and the flask charge gaining is the last one. So you can skip some currency on this watcher's eye by simply going with the discipline mode. but what's gonna happen, you're gonna lose -7 mana cost from the clarity, and that's very important, because if you just skip it and which I'm doing any steps that I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna run into the mana issue, and you're probably gonna leave a comment because you didn't listen to the video. What you have to do, you have to make up 2 points on your passive tree somehow. So let me just say like this: you would respect 1 point from the Call of the Arms and 1 point from Zealot Hold. That's the 2 points, and you have to spend those 2 points over here for the mana reduction. Those 2 points will make up for the -7 mana that I have on my Watcher's Eye. So this will give you a temporarily a thing that you can just skip some currency on the Watcher's Eye, and instead of having on the left click Enduring Cry like I have, you're just gonna go with a very common thing like a Steel Skin. The next jewel that I'm using is the newly added gem, and you can have a bunch of different Ascendancy classes points. You know, I'm using mainly for the Calling Strike and for the I think that's a Guardian passive that when you gain maximum mana as an energy shield. It's always nice to have a Calling Strike, but I would say you can skip on this jewel. You're just gonna lose some energy shield. Let me take it out. Yeah, you're just gonna lose a little bit of energy shield, and you're gonna lose a Calling Strike. I would say this is not that important, this jewel. I will buy this as a last one, unless you can snipe it on a trade for much cheaper. Let's just say just a Calling Strike for couple C, I don't know, whatever price. Then yeah, you should go for it. Calling Strike is a nice quality, but it's not mandatory. This gem, I paid for it about 100 C. So, you know, I found it on a live search. So, you know, I would say if you don't have the currency, skip it. If you have, why not? The next thing, what you're gonna be buying is this. Brutal Restraint, and you have to buy a captain that's called the Babala, because it's gonna give you a passive, the Traitor. What Traitor does, for every empty flask that we have, I have 2 flasks, I'm gonna be gaining 4 charges every 5 seconds. That's how I'm maintaining my free flask over here. I'm not able to maintain permanently flask. At some point I will run out. What I mean by this, if I would stand in the hideout for about I don't know, 45 seconds or whatever the time is, I would run out of the charges. But in normal mapping scenario, you're not gonna run out of the flask, because you're gonna be gaining the flask while killing the monsters. Even if you run map mode with reduced charges, as long as you're gonna be constantly killing the monsters, you won't have any problems. So yeah, that's why you're gonna be using this timeless jewel over here. And there's some couple notes that you can do. What I was trying to get myself an Alchemist Genius whenever you use a flask. This buff is gonna be applied automatically, since the flask, like over here, Alchemist Genius is popped, because the flask are being used automatically for me. The only thing that I have to do with the flask, I have to press 1, 2, 3 on the start of the map, and after that, you know, the flask being reapplied themselves. And you can get couple, you know, other notes. I have like cold resist over here, I have some increased non-damaging elements over here, duration, and this is my Alchemist Genius. Well, generally, do you need the Alchemist Genius? I would say no. It's nice to have it, but you don't need it. As long as you have the Traitor over here, that's good enough for you. So the flasks in this build are very important, and they're gonna go like this. The first one is very easy, because a unique flask, Coruscating Elixir, and you're gonna be using the enchantment reuse at the end of the flask effect. And while mapping, what you're gonna be doing, you're just gonna be pressing 1, 2, 3, and the flask gonna be reapplied. The one thing that you have to remember whenever you go to the hideout to do some kind of trade, and you're gonna go back to the map, you still have to press 1, 2, 3. That's something that you have to remember, otherwise you're gonna die for some random chaos damage, and you're gonna be wondering, okay, why I'm dying? It's cause you didn't apply the flask, so remember that. Another one that you're gonna be using, we're gonna be using a topaz flask and a sapphire flask, and both of those flasks gonna have reduced charge use on both of them, and there's 2 breakpoints that you wanna hit. First of all, first breakpoint that you wanna hit is 21 reduced charge. You wanna have this as a minimum on your flask, up to 27, right? Because what happens is, at 21, the flask is just gonna consume 15 charges, but at 27 and 28, it's gonna be consuming 14, so you're getting 1 charge less. So even if you get something like 23 or 22 like me, it doesn't really matter. As long as you get the 21, that's good enough. And another option that you're gonna be crafting on one of the flasks is reduce effect of curses as high as you can. Because for me personally, curses are very annoying, especially like temporal chains and so on. And another flask is you're gonna be crafting yourself from a bench if you have, or maybe your guild have, or you can get it on some kind of Discord channel. Reduce mana cost of skills during the flask effect. If for some reason you cannot get this mod to work and you're struggling to get the craft, well, I mean, if I'm gonna be live streaming on my YouTube channel, you can pop up the chat and ask me for the craft, because I do have this craft on my flask. The only thing that you have to do is you have to bring me 6 bubbles, glass blowers, I think that's how they call it properly, and let me find, and you need to get me a flask that just have reduced charge used, and I'm gonna charge you a small fee of 3C for the craft, and you can get yourself the flask. Right, unfortunately, before we go to the gearing section, there's not much of a flexibility with the items. That you're gonna have to buy them as it is. If you want, you will run into the troubles. I guarantee you that, as there's a lot of synergy with the items. So, the first item that you're gonna be buying is called Vivinsect Ring. This is a great ring for a Templar, because it gives you +5 level socketed auras. So you're gonna be socketing your Val Discipline over here, and then it gives you 2 attributes, and you can get a Unveil mod for the strength and the int. That's what you wanna do, get on the ring. And then you're gonna be applying the 20 quality, the catalyst for the attributes, and this will make the ring giving you a lot of stats, and that's what you need on Inquisitor. And there is another very important line, if you see on the bottom, -2 total mana cost for skills for each corrupted item. And that's very important, because you're gonna be corrupting your items as much as possible and as safely as possible. I will go in the details for it with this, how you're gonna be doing this for each individual item. So moving on, this is my Lorry Lantern for my miner build. I think in that video I was saying that I'm gonna be reusing some of the items, and one of these items is actually the Lorry Lantern. This is a great item since you're on low life, because you have 1 life, so you're getting a bunch of chaos resistance, you're getting some resistance, you cannot be the bleeding cannot be inflicted on you, that's a corruption implicit, and the most important damage that's gonna be hitting you on low life, it's unlucky. That's a great defense ring. So could you replace this ring? Sure, you could get yourself some kind of rare with the chaos resistance and some stats, and you could replace this ring, but I think this is a great cheap ring, and if you can get the bleeding cannot be inflicted on you implicit for the corruption, that's great, because not only that shouldn't be too expensive unless the prices go up, then you're solving your problem of corrupting the items, because you're already getting a corrupted item. Unfortunately, you cannot apply the catalyst unless you can use the new one, the corruption ones. I didn't play around with that because you know I don't want to break my ring, or I don't know what's gonna happen with my ring. But I would say get yourself the Lori Lantern. This is a great ring. Right, so moving on to the helmet. So what I would do with the helmet, I would actually buy myself already a pre-corrupted one. Just look for the sockets, and maybe you can get some kind of implicit like I have with the maximum life. They are not that expensive, but I would say buy yourself a pre-corrupted one. And the best implicit will be something probably like +1 power charge, but that's gonna cost you way too much. I would say that's unnecessary. If you can just buy yourself a corrupted one with the sockets, maybe not with the quality, you have the tainted currency that you can apply the quality, that's gonna be good. And the gems that you're gonna be keeping in your helmet is Precision, Purity of Elements, Clarity level 1. Only that you're gonna keep the Clarity level 1 if you have the Watcher's Eye with the Clarity mode like I. If you don't have the Clarity mode, this socket is just free for you. It's unnecessary to reserve your mana if you don't have the Watcher's Eye. And the next one is Defiance Banner. Right, so moving on to gloves. Gloves should be corrupted. They are like just couple seaters, because that's like a very common drop from Shaper, and people generally gonna be selling them pre-corrupted for you for like very dirty cheap. So buy yourself already pre-corrupted one, get yourself the sockets. You don't have to get the quality. Again, there's tainted currency to get yourself the quality. Well, you know, I would get yourself, and you can get yourself some kind of implicit. I have increased maximum energy shield. This is not that important as it gives me a little bit energy shield. I would say as long as you can get yourself in corrupted ones, because they have to be corrupted one. Remember on the start I told you with the Vivin sect we're trying to get as much as corrupted items as we can. And the sockets that you're gonna be keeping in your gloves is a Sniper's Mark, Mark on Hit, Inspiration, very important, you need the Inspiration, and Frostblink. Frostblink is generally the best movement skill in my opinion for any build. And there we go, one of my favorite items, Stampede. Yes, I do really like those boots. If you never played with the Stampedes, let me just quickly tell you this. If you want to put the Stampedes on your boots, having any kind of movement speed, additional movement speed, makes no sense. The last line on those boots says something like this: your movement speed is capped at 150% of base value. So no matter what do you do, what kind of cyclone do you use, what kind of slow wing, I don't know, other skills that might slow you down, those will keep you going no matter what. And they have other stats such as like cooldown reduction for travel skills. That's great for the Frostblink, because as I do like the Frostblink. And in my opinion, the value of those boots for this league should increase, because what does the boots provide now is that you can apply additional anointment. So I have a additional crit multi on the boots. And the sockets that I'm keeping in my boots are this: Energy Blade link with Enhance, and you should only have a 2 link over here. And then we have Herald of Ice, Enduring Cry. If you skipped, while I was saying in the passive tree, if you did skip on the Watcher's Eye, and so you don't have the -7 non-channeling or more, and you have to respect out of the Call to Arms and Zealot Hold, I would remove the Enduring Cry and socket yourself a steel skin over here. So that's what you would keep on your left mouse. But if you have the Call to Arms and Zealot Hold, I will keep the Enduring Cry. In my opinion, Enduring Cry is far better than steel skin. So now probably you're gonna be wondering, how do we corrupt safely the Stampedes? And so what you wanna do is this: you wanna buy yourself a decent pair of Stampedes. You wanna do the sockets, such as like a 2 link, and you wanna have 4 sockets for all of your gems, and you wanna apply the quality. And on this step, do not apply any anointments. Just corrupt the boots and see what happens. If they fail and they break and they become a yellow pair, I mean like a rare pair of boots, just go buy a new one and repeat the steps such as quality, socket, tooling, corrupt. If you have a corrupted one, whichever anointment, then you're pretty much almost done. Because then what you have to do is just get the right oil for the Heart Seeker, or you could actually use a different anointment. This is the only flexibility that pretty much you're gonna get with the anointment. And then you wanna buy yourself a tainted oil. They are not that expensive, but they're gonna allow you to apply the anointment on your boots and on your amulet on the corrupted items. So I'm using a unique belt cyclone coil. I think this is the only item that you can replace for a rare item, because if I'm not too wrong about it, you can get yourself a rare bed with the hunter influence, and he still has about 15, maybe a bit more, increased attributes, and you could get yourself some chaos res and other stuff. So you might be better off if you craft yourself some kind of influence belt. I'm not sure about yet, but at some point when I get a little bit more currency, I would investigate, I would do some kind of crafting. Maybe I would just see if I can get some kind of belt on the trade, and might even upgrade this belt if I can get some kind of rare belt better than this. But generally that's what I'm gonna be using, and I did apply 20 catalysts for the attributes to increase my increased attributes from 15 to 18. Look, Astromantis gives me a lot of stats. What do you want me to say? Inquisitor loves stats because you get a lot of crit chance from it, so, and you're getting a bunch of other synergizing things from the stats if you hover over on the Shaper stat. So this is absolutely one of the best amulets that you can get, and probably later on in the league is gonna just go cheaper and cheaper, so you know, I would just go for it. I got myself a perfect stats, and you know, I just love it. I'm not gonna be replacing it, and as usual you're just gonna be applying 20 catalysts for the attributes to get the attributes a bit higher, and you're gonna be, this is very important, applying anointment essence sap, because you need some kind of mana leech to sustain the side, you know, the ice spear, and otherwise you will run into the mana issue if you won't have this. Right, the main weapon. So what you're gonna be doing, might be tricky if you never played an energy blade. You're just gonna get yourself any kind of rare item, like any item, as long as it has I think it's what it is, a suffix, has abyss socket, and that's only thing that you want on this weapon. You cannot apply scarabs, I mean in the incubators on the weapon, because as soon as you put the energy blade on, the incubator disappear. You cannot apply any enchantment from the bench, from the harvest station, because that disappears as well. The only meaningful thing on your weapon is 2 sockets and a base jewel, because as soon as I use my energy blade, all of the stats are gone and you have an energy blade in your hand. So that's why you need a tooling, because you're gonna be keeping faster attack, whirling blade, and you have an abyss socket in here. And with the abyss socket, what you're mainly looking for is the corrupted blood, and I have like maximum mana and energy shield, so whatever you can get. The maximum mana is not gonna be affecting you too much because it's only give me 5 more mana. The energy shield is nice to have. The blind is like, you know, I don't think even it works because it's like 4%, so maybe I do get some value from it. But you could get yourself some kind of crit multi and other stuff. But primarily what we're looking for is Corrupted Blood. Now we are moving on to Prism Guardian. For the Prism Guardian, you should buy it pre-corrupted. You can replay it, you can buy some kind of cheaper one, let's say +2, some kind of gems or whatever, because you not necessarily need the resistance from the Prism Guardian, as you have a lot of resistance with your flasks, so you don't necessarily need the 12 to all resistance, but your Prism Guardian should be corrupted right away. And the gems that you're gonna be keeping in your Prism Guardian is Wrath, Determination, Zealotry. If you're trying to socket all those 3 gems and you cannot, most likely you didn't copy properly the passive tree. Let me explain. You need to have those 3 points over here, this one, and this one, and the mastery for the life reservation. Those 3 points plus the mastery reservation will give you the choice to apply 3 auras like Wrath, Determination, and Zealotry. You can swap, for example, Purity of Elements over here and Zealotry over here. It doesn't really matter, because you can have 3 big auras in your Prism Guardian as long as you have those 3 nodes and the mastery. This node is just an additional thing. This is not necessary. Them 3 and the mastery is necessary to have. So for your body armor, you're gonna be using Ghost Right. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly, but this is the best chest that you're gonna be using, because what this chest does is convert half of your life, since I'm almost 4k life over here, it will convert half of it to your energy shield. So you're gonna see what's gonna happen with my energy shield. Bam, it goes to a little above 7k. That's why this armor is great. And the links that you're gonna be keeping in your cyclone is this. In your chest, sorry. You're gonna be using Cyclone, Awaken Custom Crit. Either you have to get yourself a level 3 Custom Crit gem, or you can buy yourself a level 1 and you have to respect the mastery over here and get yourself +3 to all critical support gems, because you need the level 3 custom crit, because you need the cooldown reduction from this gem. Then you're gonna be using Hypothermia. This is like not the best, I would say not the best gem, because if I had a white socket over here I would be using a crit gem, but since I have a green gem, because I need for the swapping on the bosses if I want to do, then that's why I'm using the Hypothermia, because that's the only green gem that can get a little bit more damage. And then I have 2 options. I'm using an Ice Spear. If I'm bossing, then I would replace the Hypothermia for the GMP, and I would have a basic version of the Ice Spear, Inspiration, and Spellblade. Those 2 cannot be replaced, just like them 2. You're only gonna be replacing them 2. So this would be the single target, like bossing single target, when you just wanna simply clap some kind of phoenix like quickly, like, you know what, I'm rolling into you with my cyclone, 5 seconds later you're dead and I'm going back to my mapping. That's your setup. But if you wanna have like a good quality while mapping, what I do, I replace the Ice Spear with the Ice Spear of Splitting, replace the GMP, because it's unnecessary, it's overkill. You have so much projectiles, I would say it's overkill. If you like it, sure, why not? You can keep it. Wow, why I'm supposed to stopping you? If you want more projectiles on your screen, go for it. It might be fun for you, but since I only have a green socket over here, I can only use Hypothermia. If I had a white socket over here, I'll be using crit damage, because crit damage is better than Hypothermia. But unfortunately, I only have a green socket, so I have to use this. So if you're playing even a different custom crit build, you're gonna be recreating my build, and if you're gonna be using a basic version of the Cyclone, or like, you know, the one that you get from the Lilith, this is actually bad, really bad for this build. For this build, this gem should be in the recycle bin like that. It should be non-existing, because that cyclone gives you more movement speed. Since I'm using the Stampede, that movement speed does not exist for me and has no bonuses at all. So not only that, this cyclone is bad and you shouldn't be using that. If I socket it over here, it has a very small AoE. Because if you read, the AoE is increased by 0.5 meter per the strike range, and the strike weapon range on the energy blade is 1.1, so you have a very small cyclone, and this is actually bad. That's the first bad thing. The second bad thing is your speed is set up at 5.32. That's another bad thing. So not only you're not getting the quality because it's bad, you're getting small AoE and you're getting just an average attack speed. So that's why this cyclone is bad, and you should use the alternative quality or whatever you want to call them, the ones from the labyrinth. This one is far better. It has 6 stages, it has great AoE, and the most important, it gives us more attack speed per stage. The only downside of this cyclone is this cyclone starts at much slower attack speed, but as soon as you hold it, it just ramps up, and it goes to 7.09, and we have a nice huge AoE. So this cyclone is absolutely great, and you should be using that on your custom crit build, because it's giving you a lot of free attack speed. And if you ever played any custom crit, you know that getting the right amount of numbers on the attack speed and the cooldown and more sometimes might be a headache. This solves the problem, because you just get yourself the cyclone, you get the awakened custom crit level 3, and bam, there you go. You don't have to stack any more attack speed, jewels, any clusters. You still can do that to increase it much higher, but this just streamlines the process of the custom crit by simply socketing 2 gems and you're good to go. So like I said, this cyclone goes to the recycle bin and you just destroy it. Probably another question that I'm gonna see in the comments: what's the price of the build? And if I'm gonna give you the price of the build, you're never gonna make the same build for the price that I did. There's no possibility that you're gonna do, because most of the items that I bought was on the live search, and most of the time I bought them about 20 to 40 to even 55% cheaper that you see on the trade. For example, when I was buying my belt, the belt costed a divine. I got it for 55C, and that time I think divine was 144C or something like that. So I bought most of the items like my belt, my amulet, my ring, my chest way cheaper. So for me, the build, before I bought myself the Watcher's Eyes, this Watcher's Eyes was about 12 divines, but the Watcher's Eye costed me about 15. But if you would try to recreate the build without the Watcher's Eye, you would just go the discipline mode, and you would just go and buy, the items first from the trade, you're probably looking something like 25 divines or more. So what I would advise to you, start farming and start slowly buying all of the items on the live search and try to snipe some kind of good deals. So let's just check, for example, the Astromantis, right? It costs 2 divines. So what I would do, I would try to snipe something for like a 1.5 divines. It might take a while before you buy it, you get one, but I would be very patient, because if you save up, let's just say a half a divine over here, then you can spend it on your ring. Then if you save up some currency on your belt, then you can buy yourself a gloves, and this way you can buy the build much cheaper, instead of just going and buying the amulet for 2.1 divine and you're just losing some currency. So if you're running mana problems and you're gonna be using your cyclone and you're running out of mana, it most likely means that you didn't listen properly to the to a full video, so I'm gonna try to compact as much of information in just one timestamp. First of all, your cyclone and your ice spear, as my ice spear up here, should be supported by the inspiration. Right, that's step one. Your sniper's mark should be supported by inspiration. That's another thing. The Vivin Sect, it gives you -2 total mana cost per corrupted item, so you should be corrupting as many items as you can. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corrupted items, right? So that's why I'm getting a huge chunk of mana cost reduction from the Vivin Sect. Another thing, I have a Watcher's Eye with the non-channeling skills. If you skip that non-channeling skills, like I was saying in the passive tree, you have to find out 2 points. The quickest way to get your 2 points is to respect Call of the Arms, Zealot Oath, and you have to go over here. Those 2 nodes over here will solve the problem of the mana cost that I have in the Watcher's Eye. Pretty much the -7 is equal to those 2 points over here. And last but not least, you need the Essence Sap anointment on your amulet. The Essence Sap is located over here. Let me hold Alt so you can see the oils is teal, violet, black. So like I was saying in the beginning of the video, you can change the combination, because this build is a generic spellcaster battle mage custom crate build. So what does that mean is that if you don't like the ice spear, you can just simply ignore the ice spear and you can socket other gems. Obviously that's gonna require you to recoral a little bit of on your chest, unless you get a couple white sockets. That will be fantastic, and I'm gonna plan to do that as well. So you have a couple options. First of all, you can use any of the new arcs. I play around them a little bit, and from those new gems are still not integrated in the POB, so I cannot give you any numbers, you cannot check them how they perform and so on. So I can only give you my opinion after playing around with them. So this one, mainly I would say it's designed around boss. It resembles as closest as you can say to like a standard arc. I think he has a bit more damage per chain remaining, but it's still great even for mapping and bossing, and overall it still feels absolutely great. This one is a little bit weird because it just sends one beam and that beam splits and it should have some kind of nice clearing, but after doing couple maps with it, I found it's not actually that good compared to this one, because this one is actually great. It's great on clearing and good on bosses. So overall, this arc is far better than this one, and this one's supposed to be massively great for clearing, just like with the Ice Spear of Splitting is great for clearing, not that great for bosses, right? But if you don't like the arc, so you could do like an arc and crit chain, and the crit chain always gonna be over here. You're just gonna be swapping this gem over here, and you're gonna be swapping your cures, because you don't need the projectile one, because arc is not a projectile. So you would remove the sniper's mark and you would just use assassin mark. That's why I have 2 pair of gloves. Another combination that you can do is firestorms. The first one, if you look on the more numbers and more damage with hits, but after fighting a boss, I can quickly get those 3 firestorms, and there's like a slight delay, I would say, between getting the damage. I'm not sure yet about how does it looks, because it's hard to test out the damage, but this one feels way better, because this one, what's happened, you only put those big meteorites on the enemies, where you can spam them like way a lot, since you're a custom crit and you're triggering so many of them. So if this one feels a bit way better than this one. Even if this one has like a huge more multiplier, and this one only has like a huge amount of flat damage. So obviously you can play around with them yourself. And this Firestorm is like a vanilla one. I can show you that. Let me just undo that, take this out. This is like a classic Firestorm, and you just place it on the ground, and you have a duration when it spawns those like flamey things. You can still play around as a custom crit with this Firestorm, but there's a bit of delay before you start doing the damage, because you're gonna be stacking some Firestorms, and when the enemies go into that rain, because there's gonna be multiple of them, they're gonna be dying very quickly. But that's I wouldn't say that's like good for the fast mapping. And there's a couple more skills that I would like to test out, such as like Blazing Salvo, Eye of Winter. But for now, those three combinations, like the Ice Spear, the Arc, and the Firestorm, that's what I already tested, and I can tell you there are solid builds just if you swap 3 gems, such as Assassin Mark for the Sniper's Mark. You change your Firestorm over here and the Crit gem, and then you have like literally a Firestorm build. Or if you don't want to have a Firestorm build, you just do crit damage and an Arc, and you have like a more like a clearing or like an arc build, whatever you want to call it. But you can just swap around 3 gems of 2 over here and the Mark, and you can test out a bunch of other gems, so just go for it. Test out as much as you can, because I'm gonna be doing that as well for the next couple days. While I'm recording the video, the new gems for the Cyclone and the Ice Spear, they still do not exist in the POB. So what I did, I went to the configuration over here, and there's a custom modifier over here. I added about 34% more attack speed to simulate the new Cyclone. But this might be a little bit off, or maybe a little too little, because it's hard to calculate exactly how much more the Cyclone gives, but I would say roughly that should be more or less good. But once you get the new Cyclone gem inside the POB and you can have it, which are me using the custom modifier, please remove the custom modifier, otherwise your damage is gonna be either your trigger rate is gonna be way too high or literally might break down. So just please remember, remove this once the gems are in the POB. If you don't know how to find a proper brutal restraint jewel to get yourself some nice nodes, I will show you, because there's a feature in POB over here. Find a timeless jewel. You click on it, then you take brutal restraint, right? That's the base that you wanna have. You're looking for Barbala the traitor. So that's what you have, and you have to click this. This is gonna only apply the nodes that you have already spec'd on your tree, right? And then you have desirable nodes, and we wanna get Alchemist Genius, so it's gonna be Flask. So it's Flask effect. And then what you wanna do, you wanna add bunch of fallback nodes that are interesting to your build. If you press over here, not this one, over here, there's a lot of mods that you can get on the passive nodes, and you look what's interesting. Chance to avoid being stunned, not necessarily interesting. Non-damaging elements, why not, right? So that's one. Increased auras, why not? Blind, cold resist, why not? Elemental damage, why not? Let's go for it. What else? Flask charge, that's great as well. Alchemist Genius, that's the one that would. Do you want to get the frenzy charges? No, because you're gonna have probably too much attack speed. Crit chance, why not, right? So you go to the list. Life, why not? It's still a good mod. Minions, nope. Movement speed, we don't need it because of the boots. Onslaught, we don't want an onslaught. Dexterity, why not? Fizz, not necessarily interesting. Poison, nope. Projectile damage, why not? And increase attack speed, yeah, sure. Once you have that, so you're gonna press search, then you press over here copy, and this will not take you to the browser of the I mean, you're gonna copy this into your browser. So once you copy the link, that's what you're gonna get. You get a bunch of jewels, and the cheapest one is for the 2 divines. Let's see what we're gonna get for the 2 divines. You wanna press this plus over here. That's gonna copy the jewel, and you can press it in the POB. Let me just find the POB. POB. There we go. POB. We add to the build. Take this. We move to the right socket over here, and let's see what happens. We're getting the traitor. So I'm getting flash charge gain, that's great. I'm getting increased elemental damage, great. Cold resistance, not so bad. And damaging elements, not so bad. So for the 2 divines, this is actually not so bad. I would really appreciate if you can hit the like button and subscribe button, as this will really help me out growing the channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later in my next video.